All right, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. Before we start here, I just want to, from our football staff and our athletic department, really thoughts and prayers out with Ben Abercrombie, Harvard player, former Hoover Buck that was injured over the weekend in a game against Rhode Island. So just be praying for him. Back to on a lot lighter note, 1-0 in the Sun Belt, and that was our goal all week. We thought we had a good week of preparation last week. Our kids I thought they prepared with purpose. They understood the task at hand and went on a tough road trip. It is really difficult to get from Troy, Alabama to Las Cruces, New Mexico. It is really difficult, and I don't think the average fan understands what goes into making that type of trip. And we've really done it. We've made 2 cross-country trips in 3 weeks, all the way to Boise, Idaho, then all the way to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and really proud of our guys for handling that trip and coming out and with the win. New Mexico State is much improved. A lot of credit to Coach Martin and his staff. I thought it was an extremely physical game. It was competitive all the way to the end, and credit their players. You know, they played really, really well. Kind of just quick overview of the game. Special teams-wise, I'm going to hit the negatives and the positives. The negatives, obviously, we missed a PAT and a field goal, and that can't happen. And what it did, it caused us to have to go for some fourth downs later in the second quarter that we probably would have kicked under normal conditions. And we got to do a better job blocking our return game. I think we have a really good returner in Marcus Jones in the punt return and kickoff return game. We got to do a better job of blocking for him. The positives is our coverage units, which were huge question marks coming out of that Boise game. For the second game in a row, did a nice job. And they had Larry Rose back returning punts, so it was a great challenge for us. But they're improving. Bratcher did a great job on kickoffs. And then Sumter continues to punt well. You know, he's been consistent through our 3 games. We've had good operations. So our long snappers, Cameron Kay and Preston Langham, are doing a really nice job for us. Defensively, New Mexico State is one of the top, if not the top, offense in our league. We held them under their season averages, points and yards. Negatives defensively, second week in a row, we had 0 takeaways. And that's something that we pride ourselves in. That's something that we work probably more than your average team, and that's second week in a row. And they were able to conduct. I think they were 4-8 on third downs of 7 and plus. We've got to do a better job getting off the field, and we didn't do a good job at all generating pressure. Some of that was we were in coverage. We were playing coverage a lot more than usual, but we had 0 sacks in the game. I think we had 7 opportunities where we could get the quarterback down, and we didn't get them down at all. So that was disappointing. The positives are we stopped the run and really took them out of the run game. I think they only had attempted 17 rushing attempts, right at 3 yards per carry. We limited their big plays. We kept them in front of us. Really, the only huge pass play they had was on a tip ball that Flakes had a chance to intercept. Best we've covered in 3 years as far as against a quality passing team. I thought we did a nice job matching routes, and we can do a better job making some plays on the ball, but best we've covered. And offensively, finishing with the offense units. The negatives are obvious. I think we had 9 offensive penalties, which is absolutely ridiculous. We were 1 of 3 on fourth down, which is not what we need to be. And probably the most disappointing thing offensively is, we go into half 13-3, and we don't punt. And we don't punt the whole half. We really don't punt till midway through the third quarter. But we only have 13 points at halftime, and we had opportunities in that second quarter to make it a 20-23, maybe even possibly a 27-3 game going in at half. So I was disappointed we didn't take advantage of our opportunities there and really shot ourselves in the foot with penalties. They did a nice job of pressuring us, but we did a lot of damage to ourselves. The positives, we had 0 turnovers. Third downs, we were really efficient. Started both halves fast. Scored touchdowns on both our opening drives of each half, and almost 5 yards a carry. And probably the biggest a positive thing we did offensively is we finished that game. 6+ minutes, we took it off the clock to take a knee and finish that game, and that was big. Players of the week to finish up, the Nathan Harris Service Award goes to Jonathan Boring, who's a 5th-year senior, man, probably the most service-oriented guy we have on our football team. Our Corey McCullers Spirit Award, which is the best guy on the sideline, goes to Juwan McDowell. I thought he did a great job energy-wise, one of our special teams core guys. our scout players of the week, which is critical. And I think this gives you some insight to some guys you'll hear down the road. On offense, Jabir Fry did a tremendous job of being Larry Rose all week. And he's a guy, you haven't heard me talk about Jabir a little bit. He's come back off a knee injury. We tried to make a go of it in week 1, and we just didn't feel like, and he's had some issues with that surgically repaired knee. So, he's not up to full speed, but he gave a really good look as Larry Rose in some of our scout periods last week. On defense, from Pensacola, Florida, a true freshman, Zachary Blocker, did a really good job at linebacker for us. And our scout special teams player for second week in a row is Charles Henderson's own Amari Vaughns. He does a great job. As far as players of the game, on special teams, it was true freshman Terrence Dunlap. Starts on 4 special teams units, most productive point-wise, and just continues to grow in that role. Defensively, it was Blaze Brown, grade out the highest of any player on defense, 91%, had the most production points. I think he had 5 tackles and 1 assist and 1 pass breakup, and just solid in coverage all night against the Scott kid, who I think's, he's an NFL player. Our offensive lineman of the week was Tristan Crowder, true sophomore, making his 3rd career start. He had, I think, 6 knockdowns, graded out 88%, best game he's played since he's been in college. And our offensive player of the week was Jordan Chillen. Had 20 rushes, 92 yards, had a touchdown, continues to be a factor in the passing game, 3 receptions for 23 yards, and had 1 huge 3rd down reception that he had a nice run after the catch, and then he was the main guy that we were handing the ball off to as we ran that clock down in the 4th quarter there. Proud of Brandon. Brandon was recognized as a Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week, and well deserved. He continues to mature and grow. Proud of how he's played the last 2 weeks. Moving on this week. Our team's really excited about not getting on a plane. I'll tell you that. We're excited about staying home and getting back in front of our home crowd. We're expecting another huge crowd here. We'd love to break that record we just set. And we've got really 2 groups of people that we're celebrating this week. And the first one, it's going to be our Military Appreciation Day, and that's a game that our fans look forward to, but more, our players really look forward to. We've got a lot of our players whose family members, parents, brother, sister are involved in military, and this is a game they always look forward to. So we're excited about hosting our service people. And then the other thing is the college football playoff initiative is the extra yard for teachers, and we did this last year. And I come from a family of educators, and this is something that's a cause that's really close to my heart. And we're gonna do some promotions and things like that, and some recognition in game. And some things in the schools this week to recognize the service that our teachers do. Akron is a quality football team. Really played a very difficult schedule. Played Penn State, one of the top 5 teams in the country, and then last week played Iowa State, who I think's, their coach there, Matt Campbell, does a great job, and they're one of the most improved teams in the country as well. And they really played close and turned the ball over in the second half, and the game got away from them. But Terry Bowden's done a great job there. I think he's one of the winningest coaches Akron's ever had. I'm sure this is a special game for him. They held the Bowden family camp here for a number of years, so to come back to Troy, and I'm sure a lot of his family can get back here too. So they've also got a lot of players from the Southeast, Alabama, Georgia, Florida guys that are represented. So I'm sure their guys are looking forward to getting back in the Southeast and playing down here. If you look at their coaching staff, a lot of talent, a lot of experience there at Power 5 programs, and they know what they're doing. Just quick run through offensively. They're balanced. Their coordinator is A.J. Milwee, who played for Kenny Edfield there at North Alabama, a really good quarterback, a guy that we've been around, myself and obviously Coach E, and he's been around our offense staff a lot. They've got a quarterback named Watson who's a dual threat, really accurate. They've been throwing the ball a good bit this year. Running back is named Ball. He's an Ohio State transfer, very similar to Jordan, and he's a big physical kid, runs downhill. And they got several playmakers at wideout, some guys that can make you miss in space. The way I do a good job tackling. Defensively, Coach Amato is the defense coordinator, longtime assistant to Bobby Bowden at Florida State, head coach at North Carolina State. they do a nice job. They attack you on defense, hit you from a number of angles. They've got a corner, number 4, Brown, who I think is probably going to be the best cover guy we've played all season. A linebacker, number 5, Gilbert, who's really active, had a lot of tackles so far this year. And their best pressure guy up front is number 9, Davis, who he does a really nice job of using his hands and plays a good pad level. Special teams, they got veterans at the long snapper, place kicker, and punter. So good challenge. Like I said, our guys are excited about getting back home, and we've got to continue to improve and build off the last 2 weeks. Questions?
You played so many receivers, some valuable receivers, all of them with different skill sets. I want you to talk about one guy, because on that 6-minute drive at the very end, the Salt put away, there was a critical third down play where Silvers took a snap that he wasn't expecting, and it looked as though DeAndre Douglas got bracketed pretty good, and he got it up to him and he made a play. Can you talk specifically about that and about Douglas's production in this game?
Well, DeAndre, he's really kind of been we have high expectations for DeAndre Douglas. I think he's a guy that has the ability to potentially play on Sunday. Didn't think he played particularly well week 1 or week 2. Not a guy that you probably said his name a whole lot in the first 2 weeks, and I thought he responded. We probably coached him a little harder this week and gave him some opportunities early in the game, which proved fruitful as we went on. But that was a huge third down reception. I think it was 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3 there. And that kept the drive alive. And it was a great throw by Brandon on the sideline. DeAndre went up between 2 defenders, came down with it, was able to get his foot in bounds as well. And he needs to be a go-to guy for us, without question. And what I hope happens, he gains confidence out of that game and continues to build. Anybody else?
You talked about Brandon's performance specifically, offense. Is that kind of what you need to see him growing throughout the season?
Yeah, I think that's what we expect. He had a couple of nice runs as well. I don't know if we'll see a 30-yard run every game, but I thought he made good decisions. Pre-snap wise, thought he made really good decisions. Thought he managed the game well. And I think that the week 1 Brandon Silvers against Boise, that I don't think that's who he is. I think that he put a lot of pressure on himself for whatever reason, and he didn't perform very well. I think he's gone back to the drawing board and really been more fundamentally sound. I think he's been more locked in practice and prepared better. And as long as he continues to do that, I think he'll continue to play at a high level.
Ask you about the defensive stop midway through the fourth quarter, and then carrying it on to the offense, taking the air out of the ball. How important is that sequence, and just what stood out to you?
Well, it was big, because we had the offensive series. The next to last offensive series of the game was really a poor one. We had a holding penalty. We had 2 drop passes, and went 3 and out in that series. And we had to punt it with a 3-point lead, and the defense goes 3 and out right there against a quality offense, and they had good field position. So I thought that was probably the biggest defensive stand of the game without question. And then offensively, we got the ball on the right in between about the -2.5 and able to run out the clock, which I think a lot of credit should go to our strength coach, Raphael Horton. I mean, we played a lot of snaps on offense, and I think what we did is we eventually wore those guys down defensively. And Chun is a load. He's 230 pounds, and we bring Josh in, who's in the ballpark at 250 pounds, and when you have to tackle that size back repeatedly, you're eventually, it's a battle of wills. And I was proud of our offensive line too. We're young up there, and we continue to get better, and I'm excited about our future at that position.
There's so much hype surrounding this offense this upcoming season. I think 98% of the offense coming back now with 3 games under their belt. Can we start to see maybe a little more consistency out there?
But yeah, I hope so. We stunk so bad in week 1, so there was only one way to go after week 1. But week 2 and week 3, I thought we handled Alabama State pretty well. We moved the ball consistently. We're still, like I said, we do some things to self-inflict. Whether it's penalties, drop passes, we're not scoring enough points. If you look at the statistics the last 2 weeks, and only have 34, and then I think it's 27 the other night. We're not scoring enough points, so we got to get more points on the scoreboard. I don't think we're playing close to potential. I was moderately pleased with games 2 and 3, but I think we got to continue to get better.
you're coaching up against somebody who's very familiar with this area and used to coach at Auburn, Terry Bowden. What are the challenges that may pose, knowing that just it's a Bowden, that name kind of rings a bell for a lot of people in the nation?
Well, I think it adds intrigue to the matchup without question. One of the most famous names in all of college coaching, all coaching period. Terry's had a ton of success. If you look at him at Auburn, Sanford before that, what he did at UNA, what he's done at Akron, and they went to a bowl game 2 years ago. Really were on track and had several injuries at quarterback a year ago, or they would have been bowl eligible 2 years in a row. So, I think a lot of local flavor to this game. I think we'll get maybe some casual fans that come in just because they want to see a Terry Bowden coach team.
What was the advice to you guys gave to Bratcher after the extra point, missed field goal? I know it was his first season really out there. Any advice you gave to him?
No, I constantly tell him I'm just more worried about him kicking off. Honestly, we should be good enough on offense. We should be able to overcome some of the field goal things. We have confidence in him. It's the misses were fundamental issues, not necessarily anything else. But I just reiterate to him all the time that I'm more worried about his kickoff duties than I am his field goal duties.
With LSU coming up a week from now, I don't want to allude that people may be looking over Akron, but how do you keep your guys focused on now instead of worrying about having to go to Death Valley next year?
We laid such an egg at Boise, to be honest with you. I don't know if we're good enough to overlook anybody. We won't even talk about it. I'm not sure how much people our players might get asked about it a little bit. I'm not sure. Honestly, that LSU game is probably the furthest thing from my mind. I'm worried about Akron because we play them this week. I'm worried about how we can continue to get our guys better for that conference run.